In fiftyville, your task is to use SQL to solve a mystery. In the town of fiftyville, you know the safety duck has been stolen, and it's up to you to figure out who did it. Now, here's what you know. You know that the crime took place on July 28, and that it took place on Humphrey Street. But beyond that, you really don't know much else. Now, your job is to figure out three things. First, who the thief is, who stole the duck. Second, where the thief escaped to. You think that they probably left fiftyville, but where did they go? And third, you'll figure out who the thief's accomplice is, that is, who helped them steal the duck. Now to do this, we've given you a database called fiftyville.db, and fiftyville.db has inside of it several tables of information that we've gathered from about the town. Now to open this database and query it, you'll need to open it in SQLite. To do so, at the command line, you can type SQLite3 space fiftyville.db. And followed by return, you should then see the SQLite prompt. That is SQLite followed by this greater than sign. And it's here you'll write your queries. For example, your select queries, maybe. Now, if you want to query this database, you might need to know first what information is inside of it. That is, what tables does it have? And so a natural first command to write is this one, .tables. If you type .tables followed by return, you should then see all the tables of information that you can use in solving this mystery. You might see airports or ATM transactions or even bakery security logs. But notice first, crime scene reports. Well, we know right now that the crime took place on a particular day, on a particular month, and a particular street. But we don't know much else, and so crime scene reports might tell us more about the crime in question. But how do we know, then, what columns crime scene reports might have inside of it? Well, we could type a different command, this one, .schema. If I say .schema, crime scene reports, followed by enter, I should see the SQL create table command that was used to create this crime scene reports table. And I might notice in particular that I have a month column, a day column, a street column, and even a description column. So if I know, again, the month, the day, and the street of the crime, it follows that I should figure out what the description is of this crime. Now, to narrow this down, I could write a query a bit like this. I might say, select description, where description is the column I'm interested in, from crime scene reports, that table I'm querying. But I don't want all descriptions. I only want some, those that were on a particular day and a particular street. So I could narrow it down. I could say where, month is 7 for July, and day is 28. And of course, the street is Humphrey Street. Now, doing this query, I might know more about the crime and get a lead I could use to figure out who actually did it. Now, you might also need more than one table, though. You might need airports or ATM transactions or even flights and interviews. You might certainly need the people table. And so make sure, as you go out to solving this mystery, to use that .tables command to figure out what you have at your disposal here. Now, a few suggestions as you go about solving this mystery. First, make sure you explore table schemas. Make sure you understand that maybe one column in one table might actually correspond to a column in another table. You can figure out what's inside those tables by typing .schema and the table name. Secondly, once you know that maybe one piece of data in one table corresponds to some data in another table, try writing queries that actually cross those tables, either using nested queries or joins, where you can add multiple columns to a different table you're querying right now. And third, make sure you maintain a list of suspects. As you do, you might write more queries to actually narrow it down as you go. Now, ultimately, you'll be writing all your queries inside of your log file, keeping track of your thinking as you go. And to that end, make sure you're writing comments or notes to yourself and even to others to show what you're thinking and how you're thinking as you go through. For example, if I were to find the description from the crime scene reports table, I might write this query here. But I should also include a comment saying, this is what I was thinking. Here's how I can find the crime scene description. Now, ultimately, using just these tables, this database, and your own SQL queries, you should be able to find who the thief is, where they escaped to, and who their accomplice was, ultimately solving the mystery. My name is Carter, and this was fiftyville.